The film opens in Honduras where Rocio, a young girl with a beautiful singing voice, and her younger brother Miguel are approached by Giselle, a woman claiming to be a talent scout. Giselle lures their father Roberto Aguilar with promises of modeling contracts for his children. He takes them to a photo shoot, but when he returns, Rocio and Miguel are gone, having been abducted and sold into child sex trafficking. Meanwhile, in Calexico, California, Ballard is a special agent for Homeland Security investigations, working to arrest child pornography distributors. The emotionally grueling nature of his job takes a heavy toll on his personal life. After a colleague, Chris, points out that their efforts while prosecuting predators do little to prevent the exploitation of more children, especially those outside the U.S., Tim feels a growing urgency to do more. Tim devises a risky plan to infiltrate a trafficking network. He gains the trust of a recently arrested pedophile Ernst Oceansky by feigning a shared dark desire and quoting from Oceansky's perverse book. This deception leads to a meeting where Tim can rescue a trafficked child. He successfully arrests Oceansky and another trafficker, Earl Buchanan, and rescues Miguel. Miguel, traumatized but hopeful, reveals that his sister Rocio is still captive and begs Tim to save her. Tim, deeply moved by Miguel's plea, arranges for the boy to be reunited with his father Roberto. Before Miguel leaves, he gives Tim his sister's St. Timothy necklace, a symbol of hope and a promise that Tim will find Rocio. Driven by this new purpose, Tim shifts his focus to finding Rocio. His investigation leads him to Cartagena, Colombia. He receives a call from his supervisor who, despite acknowledging the difficult nature of his work, orders him to return to the U.S. and hand the case over to local authorities. Knowing that Rocio would likely disappear forever if he followed orders, Tim makes the momentous decision to resign from forfeiting his pension to continue his mission independently. In Cartagena, Tim connects with a local contact, Jorge, who introduces him to Vampiro, a former money launderer for the Cali cartel who now secretly rescues trafficked children. Vampiro operates by buying children and placing them in safe houses, giving them a new chance at life. Vampiro, observing Tim's seriousness, advises him to blend in better with the local scene, suggesting he appear as a horny, hungover rich American to attract traffickers. Tim learns from Vampiro that Giselle, the woman who abducted Rocio and Miguel, is a major trafficker who sources children from Central America to avoid Colombian police scrutiny. She lures them with false promises and quickly forces them into prostitution. Vampiro identifies Giselle as Katie Juarez, a beauty queen with no official criminal record. However, arranging a direct meeting with her is difficult as she only deals with trusted street traffickers. Inspired by a successful sting operation on a high-end child sex club in Thailand, Tim proposes an audacious plan. They will build a similar sex hotel in Cartagena as a cover to lure Katie and other traffickers, aiming to rescue a large number of children. He enlists the help of Pablo Delgado, a wealthy real estate developer and vigilante who enjoys playing cop and has assisted in previous missions. Posing as wealthy investors looking to establish a luxurious members-only club with a steady supply of young models, Tim and his team meet with El Calicaz, a notorious trafficker known for providing child escorts. Tim pushes for a large number of chickens, trafficked children, shocking Calicaz with the scale of his demand. The plan is set in motion to lure the traffickers into a sting operation that will allow them to rescue numerous children and dismantle the network. With the audacious plan in motion, Tim and Vampiro, backed by Pablo Delgado's resources, prepare to lure Katie Juarez and other traffickers. Their objective is to create a scenario so lucrative that Katie will bring a large number of children, allowing them to rescue as many as possible. The concept of a high-end members-only club where wealthy perverts can have full access to models 24/7, all-you-can-eat live in models, young ones, is designed to be irresistible to the avaricious traffickers. They set up a meeting with El Calicaz, a street-level trafficker who used to work for Escobar and is known for delivering young girls. Tim, adopting the persona of a depraved rich American, pushes for an unprecedented number of chickens, 50 to 60 children, as a starting point. This shocking demand, initially making Vampiro think Tim has eaten the worm, actually signals to Calicaz the seriousness and scale of their supposed enterprise. The sheer volume of children requested is meant to convey that this is not a small-time operation but a major investment that requires significant talent. The sting operation unfolds successfully. Katie Juarez, lured by the promise of immense profit, brings a large group of children for the Club Bangkok operation. Tim and his team, with the assistance of local police coordinated by Jorge, are able to intervene. They successfully rescue 54 children and arrest Katie and her network of traffickers. However, in the aftermath, Tim discovers that Rocio is not among the rescued children. This heartbreaking realization devastates him but also solidifies his resolve to continue the search. The information gathered reveals a darker truth. Rocio has been sold to FARC, a ruthless rebel militia operating deep within the Amazon jungle, a territory beyond the reach of Colombian government forces. This news signifies a significant escalation in the danger and complexity of Tim's mission. Rescuing Rocio from a heavily armed violent rebel group presents an entirely new set of challenges that traditional law enforcement methods cannot address. Undeterred, Tim, with Vampiro's continued support, makes the perilous decision to go directly into the jungle. They acquire fake documents posing as doctors to gain access to the FARC camp. This infiltration is incredibly risky and only Tim is allowed entry into the heart of the rebel stronghold. Inside he finds Rocio, who is being held as a sex slave by El Alacran, the Scorpion, a FARC leader and drug lord. She is also forced to participate in the production of cocaine. In a climactic and brutal confrontation, Tim is forced to kill El Alacran to free Rocio. The escape is fraught with danger as they are pursued by armed FARC rebels firing upon them. Tim manages to get Rocio to safety, and before they part ways he returns to her the St. Timothy necklace that Miguel had given him, a powerful symbol of their reunion and the fulfillment of his promise. Finally, Rocio is reunited with her father Roberto and her brother Miguel. The family is complete once more and they return home to Honduras, their ordeal serving as a stark reminder of the horrors of child trafficking. Tim Ballard's testimony and relentless efforts lead to new international laws being enacted to combat sex trafficking, highlighting the real-world impact of his work. The film concludes with a chilling message emphasizing that today more people are enslaved than at any other point in history, even when slavery was legal, underscoring the ongoing global crisis. Tim Ballard faces mounting pressure from his Shi superiors to abandon his mission in Colombia and return home. Despite the significant resources he's poured into the operation, including a penthouse, a mansion, and a team of support agents, he's failed to produce the American child or American trafficker that DC demands. His boss explicitly tells him it's over, instructing him to close up, get on a plane, and come back home. Vampiro, Tim's unconventional ally, explains his own motivation for fighting child trafficking. He recounts a harrowing experience from his past as a cartel member. After being released from prison, he tried to return to his old life but found it unsatisfying. One night he paid for sex with a young girl he believed to be 18. Upon seeing her painted toenails, he realized she was much younger, only 12, and had been trafficked since age 6. This revelation sparked a profound realization of his complicity in the darkness and led him to attempt suicide. However, a spiritual encounter convinced him to dedicate his life to rescuing children, believing it was God's will. This story resonates deeply with Tim, strengthening his resolve. Tim officially resigns from Shi, sacrificing his pension just 10 months before it would vest. He confronts his former boss, arguing that child pornography and trafficking are the fastest-growing international crime networks, surpassing illegal arms and soon the drug trade. He highlights the horrific truth that children can be repeatedly sold, making them more profitable than drugs. He passionately argues that if they do nothing, the pain of these children will eventually touch everyone. Despite his emotional plea, his boss adheres to regulations, stating the law is the law. Undeterred, Tim, now operating entirely independently, enlists Pablo Delgado, the wealthy real estate developer and vigilante, to fund his ambitious plan for the sex hotel sting operation. They secure a private island in Cartagena Bay, confiscated by the Colombian government, as the location for their fake club Bangkok. The plan involves a lavish kick-off party with wealthy members and prospects, for which Katie Juarez and other traffickers are expected to deliver a large number of children. Tim, still in his horny, hungover rich American persona, demands no less than 50 models, promising a massive payoff for the traffickers. Katie and her associates, including El Calicaz, agree to the terms, seduced by the exorbitant sum of $100,000. On the day of the sting, the operation begins. Tim, along with Vampiro and their team, awaits the arrival of the trafficked children. However, as the boats arrive, Tim notices a discrepancy. Fewer children than promised are present. He quickly realizes that the traffickers have held back some of the children. During the chaos of the police raid that follows, coordinated with local authorities, Tim attempts to locate Rocio among the rescued children, but she is not there. Under interrogation, a captured trafficker, Karn, reveals that Rocio was sold to the Scorpion, El Alacran, a FARC rebel leader and drug lord operating deep within the Amazon jungle, a region inaccessible to the police or army. This news presents a dire new challenge: infiltrating heavily armed rebel territory. Despite the extreme danger, Tim refuses to give up on Rocio. He and Vampiro devise a new plan. They will pose as doctors from the United Nations, claiming to be distributing vaccines for a cholera epidemic to gain access to the FARC camp. Jorge, Tim's contact, warns him that once they cross into the rebel-controlled river, they will be entirely on their own with no official support. Tim and Vampiro embark on the perilous journey. After a tense encounter with FARC rebels who initially threaten them, they are allowed into the camp due to their medical supplies. Tim, acting as a doctor, subtly searches for Rocio, claiming to be looking for sick individuals who need immediate evacuation due to the supposed cholera outbreak. He eventually locates Rocio, who is terrified and forced into servitude. In a desperate move, Tim creates a diversion by feigning a violent reaction to something he's given to drink, drawing attention away from Rocio. He then instructs her to escape with him, confirming her sleeping location. That night, Tim infiltrates the FARC compound where Rocio is being held. He confronts El Alacran, engaging in a brutal struggle that results in El Alacran's death. Tim escapes with Rocio, pursued by armed FARC rebels. They narrowly evade capture, navigating the treacherous jungle and river. He reunites Rocio with Vampiro and the rest of his team. In a powerful moment, Tim returns Miguel's St. Timothy necklace to Rocio. The film concludes with Rocio finally reunited with her father Roberto and her brother Miguel, a poignant symbol of their restored family. The movie ends with a statistic highlighting the alarming prevalence of modern-day slavery, emphasizing that more people are enslaved today than at any point in history, serving as a call to action. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.